We discovered she's been stealing from us for years. Sonia didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. The entire floor heard her anyway. Keyboard stopped. Conversations cut off mid sentence. And then she looked straight at me. Money meant for all of you, she said, for your salaries, for this company's future. Two security guards started walking in my direction. Not fast, not urgent, just certain. I set my water cup down carefully. My hand didn't shake. That came later. My name is Leah, I said quietly. No one was listening. They were watching. There's a difference. Watching means they've already decided what they're seeing. And right now, they were watching someone get exposed. 3 years ago, I took this job because I needed something simple, clean. Owen built products. He hated numbers. He said that himself in my interview. I just need someone to make sure everything makes sense, yeah, he told me. Sonia sat beside him, smiling, supportive, already involved in everything financial. Until now, she said lightly. That should have been my first signal, but it wasn't. The first month felt easy. Too easy. Full access, no resistance, no one checking my work. Most companies don't trust new hires like that, especially not with money. But they trusted me. Or at least, they acted like they did. By the second month, I started noticing small things. Payments leaving early. Vendors I couldn't verify. Invoices that didn't match contract timelines. Not large amounts. Not obvious. Just inconsistent. By the third month, I found the first name. Buried inside a registration record. One of the vendors. $40,000 per month. No deliverables. No communication history. I'm just recurring payments. I didn't say anything. Not yet. Because the moment you accuse someone like Sonia, you only get one chance. And if you're wrong, you're finished. By month 4, there were 4 companies. Different names. Same structure. Same pattern. Money in, nothing out. Some months. Over $1 million combined. That's when I realized something. This wasn't new. This was established, refined, comfortable. And Sonia wasn't hiding it very well, which meant she wasn't afraid. That's more dangerous than someone being careful. Careful people make mistakes. Confident people escalate. Around that time, things started changing. Not in the numbers, in how people talked about me. She looks tired. Working too much. I heard she's under a lot of pressure. Small comments, harmless on their own, but consistent, directed. And then came the word unstable. Quietly, carefully, just enough to exist. I didn't confront her because I understood what she was doing. She wasn't just stealing. She was preparing. And if I went to Owen with partial proof, she wouldn't need to defend herself. She would just shift the narrative from fraud to me. So I did something else, something simple. I called the Financial Crimes Office, not to report, to ask. How do inspections work? I said. What triggers them? How long does it take? They gave me timelines, processes, requirements. 2 months, they said, for a formal inspection. I thanked them, hung up, and started waiting. Because at that point, I had 2 choices. Stop it early, or let it become undeniable, and I knew which one would actually work. Sonia found out faster than I expected, not the details. Just enough to know something was coming. That's how people like her work. They don't need the full picture. They just need to feel the shift. 2 days after I made that call, she started adjusting things. Small changes at first. Access requests, late-night logins. Files moved without notification. Nothing illegal on its own, just preparation. Then she came to my desk, casual, smiling. Hey, she said, I might need your login for a few things. I looked at her for a second too long, then nodded. Of course. That was the moment everything became irreversible. Because she didn't need to hack anything. She didn't need to force access. I gave it to her, willingly, cleanly, traceable. That mattered later. At the time, it just looked like trust. For the next week, I watched the system change, transfers rerouted, approvals shifted, records rewritten. Not randomly, carefully, deliberately. She wasn't hiding the money. She was moving the story from her to me. Every transaction began pointing back to my credentials, my approvals, my access, my responsibility. It was efficient. And if I hadn't been watching, it would have worked. That's the part people don't understand. Fraud isn't about stealing money. It's about controlling the explanation. And she was very good at that. Around the same time, she started talking more, not to me, about me. She's been under a lot of pressure. I hope she's okay. I've noticed some unusual decisions lately. Always concerned, always subtle, never direct, but consistent. Enough that when something happened, people would remember the narrative, not the facts. That's how framing works. You don't prove someone is guilty. You make it easier for people to believe they are. I didn't interrupt it. I didn't correct it. I didn't defend myself. Because defending too early locks you into the wrong version of the story. Instead, I kept working. Same hours, same tone, same silence. And I documented everything. Every login, every override, every transfer, timestamps, IP addresses, approval chains. Not for the company, for later. Because once this started, it wasn't going to stop halfway. 2 weeks before the scheduled inspection, I requested a private meeting with Owen. He agreed immediately. Of course he did. At that point, I was still the person who made everything work. His office felt smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I just understood more. "What's going on?" he asked. Straight to the point. Good. I opened my laptop. Didn't explain, didn't summarize. I just showed him one account, then another, then the pattern. He didn't interrupt, didn't ask questions, just watched. His expression changed slowly. Not shock, not disbelief. Recognition. "How long?" he asked. "Long enough," I said. "And you're certain?" "Yes." He leaned back, silent, processing. "If this is wrong," he started. "It isn't." He nodded once, then asked the only question that mattered. "What do you need?" I closed the laptop. "The inspection is scheduled in 2 months." "That's too long," he said immediately. "I know." "So what's the plan?" I met his eyes. "They come next week." That landed hard. "Next week?" he repeated. "Yes." "They won't have time to prepare." "That's the point." He stood, walked to the window, stayed there longer than necessary, because he understood what this meant. Not just exposure, consequences, or real ones. "For everyone?" he asked quietly. "Yes." That was the moment he made his decision. Not when he turned back, not when he spoke, when he didn't argue. "Do it," he said. That was all. No conditions, no hesitation, just authorization. After that, then everything moved faster. The inspection was rescheduled. Quietly, no announcement, no warning. For 4 days, investigators worked inside Owen's office, before anyone else arrived, before Sonia could react, before the system could adjust. They pulled records, traced transfers, rebuilt timelines. Every dollar, every account, every decision, 7 million, not estimates, not projections. Exact. When they showed me the number, I didn't react, because I already knew what it would be. Large enough to matter, small enough to be survivable. That was the calculation I had made, and the part I couldn't undo. By the 4th day, they had everything they needed. Patterns, documentation, intent, no gaps, no ambiguity, No explanation she could redirect. That was the goal, not to accuse, not to argue, to remove every possible exit. On the fifth morning, they told me to come in as usual. Act normal, one of them said. I nodded, because that was the easiest part. I had been doing that for 2 years. When I walked into the office, everything felt the same. People at their desks, coffee cups, morning emails. Sonia near the center of the floor, confident, relaxed, exactly where she needed to be, and exactly where they expected her. That's when I understood something. The accusation wasn't the beginning, it was the final move, and she thought she was making it. We discovered she's been stealing from us for years. Sonia's voice was steady, confident, controlled, exactly how it needed to sound. People didn't question confidence, they aligned with it. She stepped forward slightly, making sure everyone could see her, could hear her, could believe her. Money meant for all of you, she continued, for your salaries, for this company's future. The guards reached me, one on each side, firm, professional, not aggressive, just doing their job. I raised my hand slightly. I understand, I said. My voice didn't shake. That surprised a few people. Sonia smiled, not widely, just enough. Because from her perspective, everything had worked. The narrative, the evidence, the timing. She had already won, or at least she thought she had. That's when the front door opened. No one noticed at first. Not immediately. Because attention was still on me, on the accusation, on the resolution that was already forming in everyone's mind. Then someone near the reception area went quiet. Then another. The guards didn't move, but their grip shifted slightly. Not tighter, just uncertain. 4 people walked in. Dark suits. Badges visible. No rush, no hesitation. They didn't look at me, didn't ask questions, didn't acknowledge the scene. They walked straight past the guards, past the employees, past the accusation still hanging in the air. They stopped in front of Sonia. Ma'am, one of them said calmly, we need you to come with us. Her smile didn't disappear immediately. It hesitated, like it didn't understand what it was hearing. I'm the one who reported the theft, she said. Quickly, controlled. So you've made a mistake. The agent didn't respond to that. We have documentation. That was enough. Behind them, Owen's office door opened. 3 more investigators stepped out, carrying boxes, files, records, everything that had been invisible. Now had weight. Physical. Undeniable. That was the moment Sonia understood. Not when they reached for her arm. Not when the room went silent. When she saw the boxes. Because she recognized them. Not the files. The pattern. Her pattern. She turned toward me. You did this. Not a question, a conclusion. I didn't answer. There was nothing to explain. The agents escorted her out. No shouting, no collapse. Just the sound of the door closing behind her. And then, silence. Real silence. The kind that doesn't wait for someone to fill it. Owen looked at the room. Go home, he said. We'll send instructions tonight. No one argued. No one asked questions. They just left. Slowly. Carefully. Like the building might still be unstable. I stayed. Of course I did. He gestured toward his office. I followed. When the door closed, it felt smaller than before. How long? He asked. 2 months after I started, I knew something was wrong. And you were certain? Almost 2 years. He didn't react immediately. He just looked at me, trying to understand something that didn't fit. 2 years, he repeated. Yes. And you let it continue. Yes. There wasn't another answer. He walked to the window, stayed there, long enough that I thought he wouldn't turn back. How much? He asked finally. Over 7 million. He exhaled, slow, controlled. But something in it broke. 7 million. Yes. You could have stopped it earlier. Yes. At 2, 3. Yes. He turned then. And you didn't. No. The room went quiet again. But this time, it wasn't about shock. It was about weight. I needed it undeniable, I said. If I moved earlier, she would have redirected it. To me. She was already preparing that. He didn't argue, because he had seen it. Seen how easily the story had already started shifting. So you waited, he said. Yes. At the cost of everything. Probably, that part didn't need to be said. 70 people work here, he said. We're operating on thin margins. 7 million gone. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. I'm sorry, I said. He looked at me. Are you? I thought about it. Longer than I should have. I don't know. That answer surprised him. It surprised me too. At least you're honest, like he said. Investigators confirmed the rest later. 6 years. That's how long she'd been doing it. Small amounts at first, then larger, then reckless. She wasn't going to stop. That was clear. But clarity doesn't undo consequences. The company filed for bankruptcy within a month. 70 people lost their jobs. Owen lost his business, his marriage, his reputation. Sonia went to prison. None of it felt like a victory. For 3 days. I didn't leave my apartment. Messages came in constantly. Some called me brave. Others called me complicit. Both were true. Neither mattered. On the 4th day, someone knocked. Paula, operations. 2 kids. All was left at 5:02. I got the notice, and she said, 2 weeks of pay. She looked at me, not angry, not accusing, just direct. Are you sorry? Yes. Are you? Same question, different weight. I don't know. She nodded, slowly. I think you were trapped, she said. I think she would have destroyed you if you spoke sooner. A pause. But I also think you could have tried. That landed harder than anything else. Trying and failing? Would have been better than waiting. She wasn't wrong. I chose certainty. Over risk, over people, over timing. And certainty has a cost. 3 months later, I'd applied to 42 jobs, 3 interviews, no offers. My name carried the story, not the context. A collapsed company, $7 million. Questions no one wanted to answer. Then an email came. A small firm. They help rebuild companies after financial fraud. We need someone who understands how these systems fail. The pay was half. I accepted anyway. Not because it fixed anything, because it made sense. 8 months later, a letter arrived from prison. Sonia. 3 pages. Blame, anger, distortion, and 1 sentence near the end. You understood what I was before I did. I folded it, put it away, didn't respond. Last week, Owen called. They found something new. She had done this before. Another company, smaller, settled quietly. She would have done it again. If you hadn't waited, he said, she might have escaped again. He didn't thank me. He didn't forgive me. He just said, I understand. Understanding isn't the same as absolution. Sometimes I think about the 70 people, about Paula, about her kids, about whether I chose justice or control. I still don't know. There isn't a clean answer. Only cost. I stopped something that would have kept going. But I did it in a way that destroyed things too. People want stories with clear winners, heroes, villains. This wasn't that. It was 2 years of silence, $7 million, 70 lost jobs, 1 prison sentence, and 1 decision. That solved a problem by breaking something else. Sonia believed she could always redirect blame. In the end, she couldn't. but neither of us walked away untouched. Sometimes stopping something terrible is terrible too.